This video is on simplifying radicals. So we're going to simplify each radical and we're going to simplify it to an exact answer. Meaning we're not just going to plug square root of 20 into a calculator and figure out what it equals, because it would give us a decimal because it's not a perfect square. So radical is the same thing as a square root. So square root of 20, to figure out what this is equal to, we're going to take 20 and break it down to its prime factor. So I'm just going to use a factor tree to figure out what the prime factors are, meaning the prime numbers that you multiply together to equal 20. So 20 breaks down to 2 times 10, and I just circle any prime numbers as soon as I get to them. So remember, a prime number means it can only be divided by 1 in itself. Okay, 10 we can divide by 2. So I'm going to say 2 times 5 is 10, and both of those are prime. So I'm down to my prime factors. So what this means is that the square root of 20 is the same thing as the square root of 2 times 2 times 5. And I'm just going to write them in order from smallest to largest. So 2 times 2 times 5. If I re-multiply these together, I end up with 20. All right, but when you're looking at square root, a square root means what number multiplied by itself equals the number under the square root. Well, we have a 2 times 2, meaning we have 2 multiplied by itself. So that means we can pull a 2 out. Anytime you have something multiplied by itself under the square root, it can come out. And what's left all alone stays underneath the square root. So 5 has to stay there because it doesn't have it's not multiplied by another 5, where 5 would be able to come out if it had another 5 that it was multiplied by. So basically you're looking for pairs underneath the square root sign, and that means that it can come out. You don't bring out both of the 2's, you just bring out 1 2 because you have 2 multiplied by itself, meaning 2 can come out. All right, so my answer is 2 square roots of 5, or 2 times the square root of 5. All right, square root of 18. We're going to start with 18 and break it down to 2 times 9, and 9 is 3 times 3. So square root of 18 is equal to the square root of 2 times 3 times 3. Okay. 3 times 3, we have 3 multiplied by itself, so it can come out. I like to just circle them so I know it's coming out. We have a 3, and we're left with the square root of 2. That is our answer, reduced as much as possible. All right, so let's try a couple more. All right, 75. So when you're breaking it down, it doesn't matter how you factor it because you'll still get to the same prime factors. So I'm going to break down 75. So you might do it differently than me, but we'll still get to the same numbers. So I'm going to say this is 3 times 25, and 25 breaks down to 5 times 5. Okay, so this gives me the square root of 3 times 5 times 5. We have 5 multiplied by itself, so that means 5 can come out. So we have a 5 on the outside, and we're left with the square root of 3 because it doesn't have another 3 multiplied by it, so it can't go to the outside of the square root. All right, square root of 112. So we're going to take 112, break it down to 2 times 56. 56 breaks down to 2 times 28. And if you don't know exactly off the top of your head, well, what can I divide 56 by? Just use your calculator, type in 56, and start dividing it by different values to see what you can divide it by. So if you type 56 in your calculator, you know it's even. You can divide by 2 and you'll get 28. Then hopefully 28 you can see you can divide by 2. So 2 times 14 is 28. And to get 14, we get 2 times 7. All right, so I'm going to write these out. This is the square root of 4 2's multiplied together. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times a 7. All right, so this one's slightly different. Square root, still find a number multiplied by itself and it can come out. Here's 2 multiplied by itself, so it can come out, so a 2 can come out. But we have another pair of 2's multiplied by itself, so another 2 can come out. All right, you might be asking, what operation do I put in between them? Well, underneath, the 2 groups of 2's are multiplied together, so you do put multiplication in between them. And we're left with the square root of 7. Remember, this is 2 times 2 times the square root of 7. So everything truly is multiplied together. All right, so just remultiply what's on the outside. 2 times 2 is 4. And we have the square root of 7. That is simplified as much as possible. All right, square root of 108. I'm going to start with 108. And I know that 2 times 54 will give me 108. 2 times 27 gives me 54. 27 is 3 times 9. And 9 is 3 times 3. All right, so I'm going to write all this out. I have the square root of 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 3. Okay, so I have a 2 multiplied by itself that can come out, so I'm going to bring a 2 out, times, I see another pair, 3 multiplied by itself, so 3 can come out. And I'm left with square root of 3. So all of this reduces. 2 times 3 is 6. So I have 6 times the square root of 3. Okay. We have one more. I'm going to break down 96. All right, 2 times 48 gives me 96. 48 breaks down to 2 times 24. 24 is 2 times 12. 12 is 2 times 6. And 6 is 2 times 3. Okay, so I'm going to write all this out. This equals the square root. All right, see how many times we have 2 multiplied by itself. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to write down 2 multiplied by itself 5 times, multiplied by 3. Okay, so looking for pairs underneath. I have 2 multiplied by itself. So I have a 2 that came out. Again, 2 multiplied by itself. So times another 2. And I don't have anything multiplied by itself. So what's left underneath the square root sign is 2 times 3. So now I'm going to re-multiply everything together. We have 2 times 4 on the 2 times 2 is 4 on the outside. And underneath the square root is 2 times 3, which is 6. That is our answer. All right, so I'm going to give you 6 problems, very similar to the ones that I just did with you. Go ahead and go through them, and when you're finished, I will go through the answers with you to make sure you got them correct, just so you can double check yourself. All right, first one, 28 breaks down to 2 times 14. 14 is 2 times 7. So this gives me the square root of 2 times 2 times 7. We have a pair of 2's that can come out. So 2 times the square root of 7 is my answer. All right, 50 breaks down to 2 times 25. 25 breaks down to 5 times 5. If you did this a different way, if you said maybe 5 times 10, and then 10 is 2 times 5, you'll still get the prime factors. So don't worry if you broke it down slightly different. This gives me the square root of 2 times 5 times 5. The 5s are multiplied by themselves, so we can bring a 5 out. We're left with the square root of 2. The third one, 150, breaks down to 3 times 50. 50 is 2 times 25, and 25 is 5 times 5. So this is the square root of 2 times 3 times 5 times 5. I like to put it in order from smallest to largest so that if I do have a number multiplied by itself, they're right next to each other. Right, we have 5 multiplied by itself, so the 5 can come out. So that means we have 5. Underneath the square root sign, we still have the 2 times 3, which is 6. All right, 80 breaks down to 2 times 40. 40 is 2 times 20. 20 is 2 times 10, and 10 is 2 times 5. So I have the square root of 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 5. A pair of 2's that can come out times another pair of 2's that can come out. Square root of 5 is all I have left underneath. 2 times 2 is 4, so this is 4 times the square root of 5. And last 2, all right, 162. This is 2 times 81, and 81 is 9 times 9. You might have broken this down further, but you might be able to see this idea right here. I'm going to stop breaking it down here. I have something multiplied by itself, so I can break each of these down to 3 times 3. But let me just show you if I stop here. It gives me the square root of 2 times 9 times 9. I have a pair of 9's multiplied by themselves, so they can come out. Yes, I didn't break it down to the prime factors, but I found something multiplied by itself. So a 9 comes out, and I'm left with the square root of 2. If you broke it down all the way, I'm just going to show you. 9 gives me 3 times 3 is 9, and over here 3 times 3 is 9. If you did it this way, you would get the square root of 2 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So here we have a pair of 3's multiplied by themselves, so pull out a 3, times another pair of 3's, so pull out another 3. Square root of 2 is left underneath. 3 times 3 is 9 times the square root of 2. So you see we got the same answer. So you can stop early if you see you have something, if what's left over is multiplied by itself, and it's just a little less work. So I want to make sure you saw that. Okay, then 192, square root of 192, breaks down to 2 times 96. 96 is 2 times 48. 48 is 2 times 24. 24 is 2 times 12, which is 2 times 6. And 6 is 2 times 3. So this gives me the square root. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2's multiplied together. 4, 5, 6. Multiplied by a 3. All right. I have a pair of 2's that can come out, times another pair of 2's, times another pair of 2's. Remember, I'm just pulling a 2 out if I have a pair of 2's multiplied together. And I'm left with the square root of 3. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So 8 times the square root of 3 is my answer.